YouTuber MamaMax is allegedly being investigated by the FBI, all while his credibility spirals down the drain. But how did we get here? So for those of you who don't know, MamaMax is a pseudo-documentarian style YouTuber known for his videos focused on exposing child predation online. Recently, MamaMax's videos have been coming into question due to the loads of issues springing up with his latest investigation into a supposed vampire werewolf sex cult. Yeah, you heard that right. Vampire werewolf sex cult. I became aware of this situation after seeing MamaMax's latest video in which he attempts to expose, and air quotes here, expose large streamer slash YouTuber Moist Critical, or Penguin Zero. You know who I'm talking about. It's the man with many names. However, not all was as it seemed. The video in question was a bait and switch. Max was using Charlie as a catalyst to drive views and eyes to his newest investigation, and essentially reach out to Moist Critical publicly. While this did get the attention Max was looking for, it was not received well, to say the least. The video, while making some good points, seemed to have missed the mark in every conceivable way.
Sniper Wolf. Bazaar Man Monday! What was that?
Throughout MamaMax's video, he attempts to create this narrative that somehow YouTubers and content creators, as a whole, are focusing on things that essentially don't matter. His example of this is the sssniperwolf drama. Max implies that if you cover the sniper wolf situation, that somehow you are and were taking eyes away from more important topics. So this is an example of Max downplaying the sniper wolf situation.
Every single day, we are bombarded with headlines about celebrity feuds, influencer scandals, and the latest entertainment gossip. These stories dominate our screens, our conversations, and our minds, creating a smokescreen that hides the harsher realities faced by countless individuals around the world. Meanwhile, cults masquerade as sanctuaries in obscure corners of the internet, only to devastate minds and splinter families. Yet these pressing issues barely ripple through the surface of our social media obsession.
Sniper Wolf was and still is a YouTuber who steals content to pump out dog shit reaction style videos, with little to no credit given to the OG creators of said videos. Not only that, but when Sniper Wolf was confronted with this fact, Sniper Wolf physically showed up to one of her most avid critics, YouTuber Jack's Films, home, threatening him and doxing his home on Instagram for her millions of followers to see. Now, I definitely get it, right? Like, in the grand scheme of things, the Sniper Wolf story isn't the most important thing to talk about. Like, it's definitely not as important as talking about child predation online, and I think just about anyone would agree with that. But Max frames it as if no one is covering these topics on the internet at all, and he desperately needs to get the word out about these serious issues. It's really cringe, and as a matter of fact, a large majority of the creators that covered the Sniper Wolf situation also cover more important topics, the same topics that MamaMax covers, and I'd like to point out, more frequently than MamaMax himself.
Isn't just happenstance. Our priorities are not just skewed, they are deliberately enabled. The platforms themselves often benefit from keeping the masses distracted with sensational, yet ultimately trivial content, shielding us from the harsh realities that require our immediate attention.
Now, I have to agree with him here. There's no doubt that platforms such as YouTube tend to not like, darker topics on their platform. However, in modern day culture, it's unavoidable. True crime is one of the biggest genres of content on the internet today. It seems like you can't go like 2 clicks without seeing a true crime makeup video or the newest true crime podcast. Hell, true crime is so mainstream that there are like endless Netflix documentaries on anything from serial killers to predators. And I mean, Chris Hansen's been around since what, the 90s? So the idea that these topics aren't being discussed is laughable. And again, YouTubers like Charlie cover more of these topics in a month than MamaMax covers in a freaking year. Just because MamaMax feels like his supposed vampire werewolf cult isn't getting the exposure he thinks it deserves, doesn't mean there's a problem with society as a whole. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't cases and stories that go underreported, most definitely, and it's sad that a lot of these stories will never be heard, but shaming creators for not covering more dark topics is not the way to go about it, dude. Like, come on, man. And don't get it twisted. This is definitely shaming from MamaMax. He's trying to shame creators into covering what he deems as worthy. Don't believe me? Just check out this part of the video where he guilt trips Charlie for not replying to his Discord DMs fast enough.
The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. I'm reaching out not to corner you, but to share growing concerns that has been eclipsed by your usual online interactions. I believe you are fundamentally a good man. I would not be reaching out to you if I thought otherwise. However, our community faces a critical imbalance in its focus and priorities. My intention in reaching out to you, especially through private channels like Discord, was to foster a private approach to address these serious matters. Unfortunately, your silence has left me with no choice but to resort to more public forms of communication. This in of itself is symptomatic of a larger problem. This lack of dialogue among creators is not just an internal community issue. It has far-reaching consequences.
Ah, yes, the classic YouTuber. I wanted to keep this private, so I made a 20-minute video talking about the thing I wanted to keep private. A classic. As classic as apple pie and fucking cheeseburgers at this point. And you wanna know what the big kicker is? MamaMax frames it as if Charlie kept him on red, like never got into communication with him at all. But that's not the full story. Again, don't believe me? Here's Charlie.
Stop ignoring MamaMax. Yeah, so here, you want me to talk about it a little bit? That rubbed me the wrong way. We talked like a month ago about what he was working on in his investigation. And then apparently when I had COVID, he messaged me a couple times and I never saw it. And now he's taken that as me ghosting him and ignoring his very important mission. And it really rubs me the wrong way. Instead of just... He's jumping to the most extreme possible explanation for me not seeing it, which is really fucking cringe. That did make me upset. There. Yeah, that really rubbed me the wrong way. I had COVID, and I barely used Discord in the first place. It was a miracle I ever even saw his message to begin with. And then I spent 12 days not doing anything online, in bed. And during that time, apparently it changed his whole framing of the video in order to make it like a Trojan horse of cancel critical because he didn't respond to my messages and ghosted me. So yeah, that did rub me the wrong way.
Also, is it me or am I the only one who thinks MamaMax is completely delusional? I can't believe Max would actually think Charlie would want to truly have anything to do with him after this. Considering Max just indirectly slandered Charlie. I mean, think about it, right? Max's entire channel is about child predators and other really evil people online, but Max is mostly known for covering child predators. So dropping a video with a title like this and Charlie front and center on the thumbnail, would that not lead people who perhaps didn't watch the video to think that Charlie may be involved with some really, heinous shit? And apparently, I'm not the only person on the internet who pointed this out. In fact, Max seems to have gotten enough pushback that as of this recording, the thumbnail and the title no longer have anything to do with Charlie. I would have said that people could have just, watched the video, but it's such a bizarre video that I'm not sure how the average person was supposed to take or understand anything away from that video at all. And what's with the fucking weird-ass Batman voice? It feels like a joke. Honestly, the first time I saw this video, I thought it was a joke. How can I or anyone else take this seriously if, you, MamaMax, can't take this seriously? And I'm not against, theatrical videos or videos that are entertaining. True crime, as sad as it is, can be very entertaining. But this is just borders on abstract and really doesn't get your point across, dude. Information on this next part I want to cover is still coming out, and if I miss anything, feel free to share anything you know in the comments with me. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this whole crazy situation, and Max doesn't help this, especially when his video is edited more like a late-night Adult Swim bumper than a legitimate documentary. But here's what I got. Allegedly, a man named Camden Gerard Davis was running a werewolf vampire sex cult via Facebook and the now defunct messenger app Kik. He, Gerard Davis, apparently messaged and groomed over hundreds of minors, including girls and boys, and in particular, a girl named Spencer. From what I understand, Spencer reached out to MamaMax after she escaped the cult. She alleges that Camden Gerard Davis convinced her to travel across state lines to move in with him while she was still underage. All of this information that I just gave you was gathered from outside sources, like sources outside of Max's video. Max shares little to no information about the alleged cult himself. I've watched like all 3 of Max's videos, and somehow I'm like not even anywhere near close to understanding what this cult was or who this cult leader is. Like, I know more about the cult leader's family than I know about the actual cult leader. Oh, and why's that? That's right, because Max wants you to watch a 5-hour-long podcast. Not the 3 videos he made. You know, in 3 videos, he couldn't summarize Spencer's story. No, he wants you to listen to Spencer's 5-hour-long podcast. Spencer, by the way, you know, the victim of the werewolf cult, is the same person who's living with MamaMax right now. Yeah, you heard that right. Spencer is now living with MamaMax. So I don't know if there's a little bit of a conflict of interest right there. A victim of a sex cult reaches out to you and now you're living together. MamaMax's videos are source, just trust me, bro. Max's claim to fame, so to speak, when it comes to evidence, and I kid you not, is my good buddy Mutahar saw the evidence. MamaMax has been using Some Ordinary Gamers, Mutahar, as like this barometer of validation. Like if Mutahar says it's good, then it's good. I don't have to show any evidence or receipts. And this next part comes directly from the mouth of Mutahar himself.
Yeah, my thing is, like, when he says my name, it's like, I've reviewed the evidence. It's like, I never said the evidence was good evidence. I mean, I didn't even say much in that server. Even with Max, it's like, and I'll just say it right now, privately, he sent me the whole message where it's like me appearing on Tommy and fucking Lerix's stream. They had it, a lot of, I guess, people on that server had a doubt, and it's like, I'm not showing up on these people's stream to like crap on you or anything. That's not a thing. Lerix, for all things considered, yeah, he's like a fucking more raunchy guy, but I chalk that more up to his youth than anything. But what he's saying isn't necessarily out of pocket, you know? I might just be saying what Lerix is saying with like more maturity applied to it, I guess is the best way to put it. But Lerix wasn't wrong, right? Like, you got to have evidence. You got to make sure you don't go into these situations 100% on emotion. And that's it. Nobody's poking holes in Max for the sake of poking holes. It's poking holes for the sake of reaching out to these people that are working with him. That, like, if you actually want real justice, it is really time to reach out and work with actual law enforcement agents versus putting your stock into a YouTube channel. Because right now, these girls aren't going to get any justice at all. That's what I personally believe at this point. These
I think that every day they spend with him, they're a day closer to being in a civil suit with them being on the opposite side of it than they are in a situation where that guy's going to go to jail.
This is going to be the one thing that is going to sound so controversial to his camp. There's a chance that fucking Camden Gerard Davis could even be an innocent individual.
Yeah. No, and I think
that's a reality that everyone has to deal with, and it's not a reality that people should put their nose up to. There is nothing that indicatively hits in this situation, and that's really where the fuck we're at right now. Max, if you're watching this, and I have to imagine you are, you've made a very, very, very poor documentary of this whole situation. And if anything, these girls, when their case isn't going to be taken seriously, once again, there's a good chance it won't be, very good chance, that's 100% entirely on you.
Allegedly, there's this 3-hour-long documentary with all the information coming out soon from MamaMax. And to be honest, the videos that he's released so far, these weird stunts, the whole Charlie thing, it feels like a big promotion for his 3-hour-long documentary. And that's just gross. That's sick to me. That, like, you're taking this extremely important situation and just kind of like hyping up this alleged documentary that's coming out soon and then trying to kickstart Spencer's like podcasting career. All of this feels shady and gross as fuck, but that's just my opinion. However, all this criticism leads me to another topic I want to talk about. That is MamaMax and criticism. So back in November of last year, sometime after the MamaMax cringe exposing Charlie, Moist Critical video dropped, Max had a live stream where he was talking about everything that was going on, and MamaMax invited a small commentary YouTuber named Lerix on for some sort of like debate/interview thing. In the live stream, Lerix points out some of the very same criticisms that I and quite a few others had when this whole drama started to unfold.
Like, you're right. If Moist Critical did make a video talking about this situation, assumingly, I think you were asking him to do it so more victims would potentially come out, so you could get a better case to get him, just follow a police report better. That's what I assume you're contacting him for. I think you're trying to force him in a sense, or try to like use this moral superiority, guilt, like to guilt trip him into covering it at this point, which I think just makes you look bad in the whole thing and kind of trivializes the thing you're trying to call out, and having a whole bunch of people like me just roll their eyes at the situation because of the way you're covering it, which is just doing you a disservice.
At least I have your eyes, though.
I mean, don't you think you've made like bigger documentaries in hour-long videos before, and they get way more attention, way more views? It would serve better if you just made a fully fleshed out documentary explaining it. And we've seen like Moist Critical, he reacts to videos all the time on stream. I guarantee if you would make a big hour to 2 hour long documentary, sent it to Moist Critical, he would cover it, because I know a lot of people, and I know you've seen the comments too, MamaMax. You can't deny a lot of people are writing off your story just because of the way that you're covering it and the way that you're going about it. Like, you've seen that, right?
Yes, sir. Let me just read off this donation from Car Pimp. She said, "Guilt trip. I wish YouTubers cared about victims." And I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. We always receive pushback. Always. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, no one likes the way you cover a specific thing because it is a sensitive topic that is always
okay. I hear what you're saying. That's a really convenient way to wipe off any criticism, though.
Lerix in this call made some very valid points. Points that I think anyone in MamaMax's situation would want to step back and take a good hard look at. However, Max brushes off the criticism, and in this entire live stream, Max seems to not want to take Lerix serious at all. Like, just brushes off any criticism Lerix has because he's a, small YouTuber.
But I guess like the difference is that it feels like you're imposing this standard, like you're trying to push this standard onto him.
First Kiss Doodle donated $5 and said, "Lerix, I hope you find your clout somewhere else. Please stop derailing the conversation about edgy content and minimizing the victim."
Are we reading donations? Do you want me to read my donations? Like, what are we? We're having a conversation.
But earlier in the very same live stream, Max's good old buddy Mutahar gives him some very, very similar criticism.
And I don't want to sound like I'm discounting the story, right? Because it's not what I aim to do. I'm just trying to say, like, I need to, like, the story is very confusing to somebody jumping in. So the last video you made with Charlie in the title, thumbnail, everything, one of the problems that I had was like the first 10 minutes in the beginning. It was just you showed some screenshots, and like the problem is I have to like pause constantly because you were only showing them for like half a second each time, which made it really hard to follow. And the screenshots that I did see, yeah, they were very charged, but they were lacking a lot of context that made me look into, like, the thing is, the story, I don't think it necessarily needs the dramatization, because this is a vampire cult leader, allegedly, and that's enough to, like, grab a headline. But the thing is, the story needs to be told in a super cohesive manner, because I think that's what everyone's problem is, right? Like, if you'd have done that initially, easily a bunch of YouTubers, a bunch of individuals would have talked about this in a very productive manner. Because right now the whole situation is so tainted. Everyone's wondering, everyone's turning this into, like, everyone's accusing you of over dramatizing this situation, or going about it the wrong way by reaching out to YouTubers without having a solid story to start off with, or that's the real issue.
Yeah, I assumed everyone was, if they wanted to know more, they would just go to the podcast, because that was to help Spencer build their own platform. But I do understand that not everyone's going to click on the podcast or watch the whole 5 hours. But thank you so much for sharing that with me. I definitely needed to hear that.
Like, this is so scummy. When Mudohar says it, oh, I need to hear it. That's good. I needed this criticism. That's why I did this live stream. But when a small commentary YouTuber with a very little platform, you know, too small of a platform for MamaMax to leech off of, Max couldn't care less. In fact, he seems to get annoyed at Lerix.
Again, this is another issue, guys, is we are taking the conversation that should be on child survivors and making about,
Oh, but you went about the video the wrong way. YouTube drama.
that is a pattern that continues on YouTube. Like, sorry, I'm getting passionate. I didn't want to get passionate this stream.
He's so annoyed, he's so quote-unquote passionate, that Max later would have another live stream where he debated Lerix once again. And this live stream happened pretty recently, so the pressure was kind of on. Like, MamaMax was getting cooked in the public, and with all this pressure and, you know, public cooking, MamaMax would seemingly lash out at Lerix by threatening Lerix's YouTube career over Discord DMs. Yeah, that's right, like literally threaten Lerix for a mistake that MamaMax made. Legitimately, let me just say that again. MamaMax threatened Lerix's YouTube career for a mistake that MamaMax did on his own live stream.
Please note that during your recent live stream, you revealed the name of a survivor who wished to remain anonymous. Which, to give all the context, what he's talking about here is this clip he sends me in Discord is a clip of me showing the Discord call that I had with MamaMax on stream. And the Discord call happened to show the real name of one of the victims. This genius survivor decided to, like, she had a fake name on Max's stream. She went by a fake alias when she was telling her story. But the genius didn't, like, have the idea to change her Discord name. So, like, when I joined the call, it showed up as her name in the call. It's not my mistake for showing the Discord call live on stream. You should have thought about this beforehand. And also, apparently, that's Max's excuse for him privating his VOD. Like, as I'm going to go over in more of these DMs, he says the reason why he privated his VOD was because of that he leaked the name too, and because of privacy concerns. If this issue isn't addressed promptly, we will need to contact our YouTube partner manager. Whatever. At the end of the day, he's talking to me very fucking weird and he's threatening to strike me. But at the end of the day, if it's a concern on doxing someone's name or releasing someone's name, that's a fine request. I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, I'll just re-upload it and I'll censor the name.
Like I said earlier, MamaMax's credibility just seems to be spiraling down the drain, and I wouldn't be surprised if he started taking shots at other people criticizing him very soon. But that's if the FBI doesn't, you know, take a few shots at MamaMax themselves, because according to Max himself, Max is now under investigation by the FBI. This is seemingly because of a video found on MamaMax's Mega Upload account. Now, if you don't know what Mega Upload is, it's basically like a cloud service. You can upload stuff to Mega Upload and then people can download it from the cloud. But with all things MamaMax, it's so unclear what part of this is true and what part of this story is just Max's weird headcanon. Or honestly, what part of this is just to promote his weird 3-hour documentary. I don't trust this guy. I know a lot of people have goodwill towards this guy, but personally, I can't stand his face. I can't stand anything about him, and I think he's a big grifter. That's just my opinion. Alleged allegations in a video game. That's just me. That's the vibe I get. I can't stand this dude. But one thing is very clear, and is not my opinion, is that Mega Upload terminated his Mega Upload account and sent him this very concerning message. From what I understand, this may have something to do with an older video MamaMax did. It was a video on animal abuse, and he may have had like video or audio clips that have been flagged by the FBI sitting on his Mega Upload account. But as of this recording, it is very unclear. Like, the full story is not clear yet. Truly, there is so much more to this MamaMax story. Like, honestly, there's so much MamaMax lore. Some I'm familiar with and others that I'm not. I do know about his, like, earlier stunt a few years ago. He claimed that YouTube was actively protecting pedophiles because they took down some, you know, videos because of TOS. It was called YouTube Pick a Side, and it was this whole big deal that happened. You could probably find videos about it. I don't want to get into it here, but I remember MamaMax from that whole drama. I thought he was weird then. I think he's even weirder now.